Thursday story for y'all. Some already know this story if you've been on my page for more than, let's see. Well, I did my first Big Brother interview last January. So if you were on my page from about maybe September, October of 2022, you already know what I'm about to say. But even if you do know, it doesn't hurt to hear it again. So basically, when I first started covering Big Brother, I first started watching Big Brother live a little bit during season 22, but my first season that I watched Big Brother beginning to end was Big Brother season 23, the cookout season. And for whatever reason, it was easy to get interviews. 7, 8, 9, 10 seasons. There are a few people that came back 3. Generally, how Big Brother goes. So I thought it was going to be a simple matter of reaching out to them via email or via DMing them on Instagram. A couple of reasons why it's not. For Big Brother specifically, you got to go through not just reaching the person themselves, but then you also have to deal with management. You also have to deal with CBS, is what I'm trying to say. You also have to deal with CBS giving approvals for these. So I have had quite a few people tell me, yes, I'm willing to do the interview, but you have to reach out to this CBS production, send them an email about your intent, maybe some questions that you're going to ask, etc. Once they give the go ahead, then I can do the interview with you. I've experienced that, or I've experienced management teams responding and being like, let me check your page, and then being like, no, or not responding at all. Or the famous one that those who follow my channel would remember, which was the first interview that I thought that I was going to get, which was coming right off the heels of Big Brother 24. I reached out to Indy. She was not the first person that I reached out to, but it was the first time I had anything locked in from Big Brother. I reached out and her manager responded at that time and said, sure, I'd love to get this interview set up. And we set it up. She said, are you going to do it via Zoom? I said, yes, I'm going to do it via Zoom. So I set up the Zoom. We had the date and the time locked in place. As far as I knew, nothing had changed. Set up the Zoom, sent it. She said, great, Indy will talk to you then. And then the day and time came. I sat on the Zoom. Nobody was on the Zoom except me. So I was like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I might have stayed on there for an hour thinking that maybe she was just really late. Then I get a message from the manager like, hey, sorry, actually Indy's schedule is busy right now, so she's not able to do the interview. And this is just a guesstimation on my end, but my guesses are not usually wrong. They're right more often than they're wrong. There were public things going on between her and other cast at that particular time, that were heating up right before the interview, and I think that was part of the reason it was canceled, but I was also never really given a reason, so I could be right, I could be wrong. Doesn't matter, that's neither here nor there. The point was, I thought that I was going to get that interview back then, which I think was October. I think the season ended around late September, and October I think I was going to get that interview, or so I thought. So after that, I was pretty discouraged. I reached out to a few more. I reached out to Joseph. I reached out to Taylor. I reached out to... there's a few others. I won't say the whole cast, but I would say at least 8, maybe 8 to 10 people. I think I tried Jasmine. There was quite a few of them from 24 that I had tried. And then I reached about November, and then I got my interview with Wes Bergman from The Challenge. So I kind of just gave up on Big Brother by that point. I was like, I'll watch it. I'll do my reactions, recaps, but I'm kind of cool on reaching out to Big Brother people for interviews. So this is what happened, why I even got a Big Brother interview. So there was this Twitter post that somebody made tagging Alyssa Lopez, not to be confused with Alyssa Snyder from, was Alyssa Snyder on the last season? Yeah, Alyssa Snyder I think was on season 25. Alyssa Lopez was on season 23, and for reference, she was the last person eliminated from the game right before the Cookout Final 6. She was number 7. So she was the last non-Cookout member to make it in that season, and then she did a season of the Challenge USA. And I didn't have her on my radar to interview at all. Not because I didn't like her or anything, but just because I didn't really feel compelled to reach out to her. For some reason, I had it in my mind that all the people that I was going to interview were probably going to be either like very recent people or top dogs. Like if there are going to be people that are from older seasons, it's going to be a Dan Giesling, or it's going to be a Janelle, or it's going to be somebody who people really know, very recognizable. Yeah, so onto this Twitter post that somebody made about Alyssa, where they said, oh, not Alyssa going on Big Brother and then coming out and working at Hooters. So I saw that post. I made a video about that because something I've seen a lot of the fandom do is to shame people for having jobs when they come out of these shows. And I was like, I mean, she didn't even win her season. So I know that she gained popularity. She gained, we're talking back 2 years, by the way. I think about 2 years. 3 years, 2.5 to 3 years. So she didn't win anything. She didn't make it to the final. She was in jury, but she was, I think, the first jury member. Anyways, my whole point of saying that is people think that you go on a reality TV competition show and that should be the end of your regular life, especially if it's not a show that they really bring on people again and again. You do go back to your life. Whatever bag you made, even if you won, what you do with the rest of your life, you still have to figure out a way to sustain yourself for the rest of your life. Like, one TV show, especially reality TV, is not going to maintain you for the rest of your life. So I made a video about that, defending her and just defending people in general, and saying I don't know why the fandom tries to shame people for having lives and jobs when they come out of their show. So somebody recommended for me to actually reach out to Alyssa, email her, and link that video for her to look at. And I was like, I mean, I didn't really do it for Alyssa like that. It was just more of like a content thing and just a general thought that I had. But then they were like, no, reach out to Alyssa, she might appreciate it. So I did. I emailed Alyssa and she did appreciate it. She was like, thanks so much for defending me, and I would love to do an interview with you. So I was like, all right. We scheduled the interview. It took a little while because she had quite a busy schedule, but we eventually were able to do the interview. And I really enjoyed that interview. It was one of my favorite interviews. Not my very favorite, but it was probably top 5 out of the 12, 13 or so that I've done so far. And the reason why is because I didn't know much about it. Like, I remember that she had a showmance with Christian. I remember that Xavier had a crush on her. I remember that she was kind of upset with him for not telling her about the cookout. She was like, he played me, he lied to me. I remember that carrying over into the Challenge USA when they had Derek X, Alyssa, Xavier, Azza, Tiffany. Am I missing anybody? I don't think. I don't remember Claire being there. I don't think Claire was on Challenge USA. But they had several members from that specific season, Big Brother 23. But my point is, I didn't know much about Alyssa outside of those couple of things. I know she lived in Florida. There was not too much that I knew about her. So, in order for me to learn more about her, there wasn't too much that I got from the show itself. I did watch quite a bit of her season again, especially her parts. But I got information about her from watching some other interviews that she'd done with other people. The popular ones, but the one particular one that I got a ton of information from was her interview with Kyland. I didn't even know that Kyland had been trying to start a podcast, or he did start a podcast. I don't know if he does it anymore, but I was like, this is really good, and this is a lot of information that I didn't know. So it was almost like doing some kind of a research paper. So I got into the interview. I spoke to her about her social anxiety and how she got through it and how she got over it, and how Big Brother actually helped her get over her social anxiety. I spoke to her about her business. I spoke to her about, X and how she felt about the whole cookout thing. And I spoke to her about her Challenge USA experience. And we just, we covered a whole bunch of things within that hour. And that interview really did a lot for me. And it gave me kind of it gave me the confidence boost that I needed to continue trying to reach out and see what happens. And then after her interview, I don't remember. I think this was. I think my next Big Brother interview right after her was my Hannah interview. And then when I mentioned it to Hannah, I was like, Hannah, you're my second interview. I said, do you know who the first is? And she was like, Alyssa. I never told her it was Alyssa, so that means that was word of mouth. She either saw it or Alyssa told her. Could have been both, because her and Alyssa are close friends. They speak all the time. And then I had a great interview with Hannah, and then I had an impromptu interview with Turner. So I've only had 3 of them so far, but the main point of this throwback story was just to shout out Alyssa. I want to thank her for being that first person to say yes to being interviewed by me. I think my channel was still relatively small at that time. It's still not a huge channel, but I don't even think it was on this channel. So yeah, it was not even monetized at that time. I might have had 100 people subscribe to my channel to this channel at the time when she did that interview. So I just want to shout out her. She was a really nice person. I thoroughly enjoyed that interview, and that's my little throwback Thursday story of my first Big Brother interview. So please make sure, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get notified of when I drop some more great content. Thank y'all. Have an amazing day.